Something strange happens in midlife. One day, the life that we built stops fitting, not because it's bad, not because we failed, but because it no longer tells the truth about who we are. Our work takes more out of us. Our relationships feel lighter than they should. And the things that once steadied us don't anymore. What makes this confusing is that from the outside, everything still looks fine. We did what we were supposed to do. We held things together. We were responsible, capable, reliable. So when this inner tension shows up, the first thought is usually, what's wrong with me? Why am I not grateful? Why does this feel so hard now? Here's the truth. Midlife is often the moment our inner self stops accepting an old deal. Not because we are failing, because we are waking up. Those roles that we learn to survive start to feel like a cage. The pace that we kept to be useful starts to feel unsustainable. And the version of us that made everyone else comfortable starts to feel unfamiliar. This isn't a crisis of weakness. It's a crisis of honesty. So today we are talking about what it means when we don't fit anymore, why it happens, what it's actually signaling, and how to move through this season with strength instead of shame. But before we explain it, let's talk about how this actually shows up in real life. Let's talk about what this looks like on an ordinary Tuesday. It can look like standing in our kitchen and realizing we are irritated at everyone for no clear reason. Not because they are doing something wrong, but because we are exhausted from carrying the emotional weight and pretending we are fine. It can look like scrolling at night, not because we love our phones, but because our nervous systems are trying to shut off. We aren't being lazy, we are overloaded. It can look like always being the reliable one and then feeling a flash of anger the moment help is expected or asked for. It's not anger at the person, it's anger at the role. Because that role has been quietly consuming us for years. Midlife is also when a lot of realities stack at once. Our kids may need us more, not less. Parents are aging, medical calls, guilt, and responsibilities that no one prepared us for. We might be in a marriage that isn't terrible, but it also isn't honest. And here's the part many of us never say out loud. We built our adult lives using skills that we learned in survival mode by being agreeable, being useful, being low maintenance, being the strong one. Those skills worked. They helped us build real lives. But at some point, they stop feeling like strengths and start feeling like a trap. So we begin feeling out of place in the very rooms that we helped create. That experience is real and it's far more common than people admit. But here's the question that matters next. If this feeling is so common, what is it actually telling us? So, what does not fitting anymore really mean? It does not mean that we are becoming too sensitive. It doesn't mean that we are becoming difficult. It doesn't mean that we are losing our minds. It means our identity is catching up to the truth. It's the moment our inner self starts saying, this role isn't me. This pace isn't sustainable. This relationship pattern isn't love. This constant overfunctioning isn't strength. This life isn't aligned. Life is often when this shows up as our brain and body stops running the way that they used to. Earlier adulthood often runs on building energy, proving, achieving, performing. Midlife shifts toward meaning. Research in lifespan psychology shows that as we age, we value depth and purpose and emotional truth a lot more. And we become less willing to spend energy on empty approval. In plain language, we start asking better questions. What's worth my time? Who feels safe? What kind of life feels honest? What am I modeling for my kids? And what's the cost of staying the same? Life also comes with grief. Grief for the childhood that we never had. Grief for time. Grief for the version of us who kept trying. That grief isn't weakness. It's what honesty feels like in the body. So when we don't fit anymore, it's often our nervous system and identity moving out of survival and toward alignment. That's growth, even when it feels really messy. If this is growth, why does it feel so unsettling? Let's zoom out a little bit. Midlife isn't just personal, it's structural. Modern life asks us to be everything at once. Someone others can count on at work, a present parent, a supportive partner, a good friend, a caregiver, a fully regulated human, and also somehow moisturized. We live in a culture of constant input, notifications, news, pressure, comparison, and a quiet message that's always saying, keep going, keep producing, and keep smiling about it. So when our inner self pushes back, it can feel like a breakdown, but it's often a correction. So the better question isn't, why am I struggling? It's, what is my life trying to tell me? Because not fitting in anymore is often the first honest signal that something needs an update, not a collapse, an update. So, how do we update without blowing everything up? What helps here isn't a vision board or a personality overhaul. We need simple clarity, honesty, and small, brave moves. Here are some tools that actually work. The role audit. Write down the roles you play at work, at home, in our families, in friendships. And then next to each one, I want you to ask, what's expected of me here? What do I actually want here? And what is the cost of staying the same? The energy ledger. For 1 week, notice what drains you and what restores you. Not big things, small things. A conversation, a person, a habit, an obligation. Awareness creates options. One small boundary, one small truth. Not 10 boundaries, not a grand announcement, just one. Micro experiments. Try one small new way of living for 7 days. Leave one event early. Take 1 hour for quiet. Say yes when you actually mean it. Stop over explaining. Small actions retrain the nervous system faster than any long explanation ever will. And if everything feels especially shaky right now, there's one more thing that can help. Create stability on purpose. Sleep, food, movement, sun, fewer inputs, more quiet, more honest connection. Not because we are fragile, because we are human. And that shift raises a bigger question. If we're not here to go back to who we were, who are we becoming? If you feel like you don't fit anymore, here's what matters. You're not failing. You're outgrowing the version of yourself that kept everyone comfortable. That isn't a crisis. It's courage. It takes courage to stop performing. It takes courage to disappoint people. It takes courage to tell the truth in our own lives. It can feel lonely at first. That old version of us had a script, but that version we are becoming isn't here to play small. So if you're standing in your life thinking, I don't fit, maybe that's the point. This isn't a breakdown, it's an awakening. You don't feel uncomfortable because you're failing. You feel uncomfortable because you're finally listening.